Alright folks, we got on this lift, this is a 2001 Chevy Suburban. Transmission had to come out of here and be repaired. Okay, transmission lines broke, so they fixed the lines. The owner, I guess, had the lines fixed, but he had already destroyed the transmission, so I had to go inside and repair it. But there's something I want you to see on this truck, and this is something that I do not ever recommend anybody doing. Okay, it's the same with that Yukon that's sitting over there. It has the same setup. Chevy Silverados, like 2000, maybe, I don't know, 99, 2000, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, what I want to show you is on the transmission, or on this vehicle. Let me get up to where I can see. If you see up here, you have the gas lines that run on top of the transmission. Okay, now these things get rusty and they get bad, they start to sweat, they start to leak, and you have to replace them. The problem is that they're kind of hard to get to because they are actually going all the way up by the bell housing and up by the motor up there. Okay, way up there. So the best way to do it is to replace it. However, some people don't, and they try to take an alternative route. If you know what you're doing, it's okay, but here's a route that I don't recommend ever. Okay, what happened, this customer had someone to run. Okay, this is the side of the transmission over here, and those are lines. See if we can see it. They ran gas line right there. Okay, they ran the gas lines down the side here. Now, as you see me running, you see that line run. You see that rubber hose? It's tied to the rubber hose. And what else do you see in this picture? You see this catalytic converter here? Okay. Now, you got two rubber gas, well, you got two steel lines that they ran this way, running right beside this catalytic converter. Okay. Now, let's see on this side here. You can see them right here. Get this light. All right, you can see them running right here, right above it, not too far away. This line here is just a little, you can see how long it is, how short it is from this converter. Okay, now what do you think will happen? First of all, this converter is going to get hot. Look how close that line is to there. This converter is going to get hot. And you got a gas line running right there. Okay, when this converter gets hot, what's going to happen to that rubber? That rubber is going to become soft. If that rubber bursts, that gas is going to run right on this hot exhaust. Let me get back so you can see it. It's going to run right on that hot exhaust. And the converter is always the hottest one, the hottest part. Okay, it's going to run right there. If it develops a pinhole leak, it's going to shoot it right on that converter. And what's going to happen, the owner of this vehicle is going to ride down the road like a fireball, because he won't be able to put it out because it's going to constantly be dropping right there on that converter. This is dangerous. And there's people who will run lines like this simply because they don't want to replace those lines that's running on top of the transmission. But that's the safest place to put them, because if it does develop a leak, it won't squirt directly on the converter. It's going to run down the sides of the transmission. Okay, but this here is dangerous. You never do this. I'm gonna have to make a note of this, because that's dangerous. So do not ever even think about doing that, ever. Okay, you see them, and it's running right there to the fuel filter. See the rubber lines running right to the fuel filter. Okay, this is not something you even think about doing, because it's dangerous. It is dangerous. It would have been better I mean, it's not good to do it anyway, but it'd been better to run steel line all the way back. If you're going to run it to that converter, run it all the way back, away from that converter. Don't put any rubber, nothing there. That's not good. I don't know, an alternative method might have been running it outside of the frame, somewhere on the outside here, running around. But to be safe, folks, it is better to just go on and replace those lines. Yes, it's going to cost some money, and if you do it, it's going to cost some time because you got to get up there and get them. But it's the safest way. Okay, you're running this way and running back. No, it's a safer way. Do not do this though. Please don't do that. Don't do that at all. Dangerous. Very, very dangerous. I'm going to have to tell the customer about this. Tell him to route these things differently, or just get the good lines. Now, one other thing about this Suburban here that I want to show you. When we were taking this transmission out, I noticed right here where you see this plug right here, right there. There was an oxygen sensor there. And this oxygen sensor was inside here, and it was laying on the frame just like this. It was inside here, but it was bent on the frame, okay, like that. So what in the world, how do you even get that oxygen sensor in there? So that's not supposed to be that way. It would break. It was already bending. So when we took the cross member out, a bunch of washers fell out, and we noticed that the washers were underneath this mount. A lot of them, like 4 to each side. So okay, now I know what they were doing. They put the washers here to try to lift the motor and the trans up so the oxygen sensor wouldn't be on the frame, but it still was on the frame. So that was another thing here that we saw in the shop. The better way is to do what I did when we got it out, which was plug this hole, okay, and put another adapter here, which you can see here on this side, and screw another oxygen sensor here so that it would not be hidden up against the frame. So whoever put this exhaust in, they didn't do that. So we had to do that. So this, once again, people would do, you'll see a lot of different things we see that come to the shop that we have to straighten out. And the only thing we're doing is supposed to be doing is just the transmission. But we run into problems like this, or things that we see like this. Just like I think I was showing you on the, what was that? The Dodge Dakota, okay? And how they had twist ties or what, twist nuts on them, okay? You will have some people who would do things like that. And if I see it, I'll try to straighten it out, okay? But on this Suburban, once again, I showed you about this here and what we had to do there. But when I go back over here and I show you about this gas line, again, that's a no-no. Do not ever do that, because that right there is just an accident waiting to happen. Is an accident waiting to happen. In fact, he shouldn't even drive this out here. It should be towed right to a mechanic shop where they can do these lines the right way. Now I'm going to tell him that.